Good morning and welcome to the Board of Commissioners meetings for October 13th, 2015. Our custom is to present the invocation, the pledge, before calling the meeting officially to order. Today, the invocation will be presented by Dr. Bill Ross, the Senior Pastor for First Baptist Church, Marietta, on Church Street. That'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. That'll be presented by Officer Brian Kennard, who began his career in law enforcement in '92. He started with Cobb Police Department in 2000 in Precinct 1. And he was transferred in May of 2001 to Step Motors, where he currently serves. For those who wish to do so, please rise for the invocation and the pledge.
Let's pray together. Father, we thank you for the opportunities that we have in life. Father, we thank you for this wonderful county that we live in, for the leadership that is here. Father, we pray for the angst that we feel that pervades us with all that we read and all that goes on around us. But we thank you, Father, for your presence, your love and grace. Father, our prayer today is that all that we do and all that we say would reflect the spirit of your love and grace. It's in Jesus' name that I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Ross and Officer Kennard. Appreciate you being with us today. We'll now call this meeting officially to order, and we begin with tab 1, our presentation. There's 1. It is to present a proclamation to Cobb Diaper Day Committee. Commissioner Burrow.
Good morning, everyone. Barbara Hickey and your committee, would y'all please come up? It's hard to believe this is the 7th year in a row that Barbara started Diaper Day, and it's a great program that she and her committee once again are doing the month of October. And on October 26th, which is a Monday, they will be collecting diapers across the street at Glover Park. And our county employees are invited to participate, as we have a bin downstairs on first floor for you to bring in diapers if you choose. So I'm gonna read the proclamation, and I'm gonna let you tell a little bit about the organizations that will be the recipients of Diaper Day. And just as a little footnote, I was on the very first Diaper Day committee with Mrs. Hickey. Okay, here's our proclamation. Whereas the Cobb Diaper Day Committee is spearheading an effort to collect diapers for low-income families throughout the month of October. The 7th annual Cobb Diaper Day will be held at 5 p.m. Monday, October 26th in Glover Park on the Marietta Square. And whereas all donated diapers will be given to Christian Aid Mission Partnership, CAMP, the Center for Family Resources, Must Ministries, Reconnecting Families, and the YWCA of Northwest Georgia for distribution to help ease some of the burden local low-income families face. In the last 4 years, nearly 400,000 diapers have been donated. And whereas in these tough economic times, securing the most basic of needs is a challenge for many families. Low-income families sometimes have to choose between food and diapers because the average cost of diapers is about $100 a month, and food stamps do not include hygiene products such as diapers. And whereas daycare centers require parents to provide their own diapers, and local nonprofit organizations can only dispense diapers to their clients 4 times a year due to lack of resources. Now, therefore, we, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, do hereby honor the efforts of the Diaper Day Committee and urge the business community, concerned residents, and nonprofit organizations to collect diapers throughout the month of October to help hundreds of local families and their children. This is the 13th day of October 2015. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrow. We still consider you a member of this organization, don't we, ladies? Yep. Well,
And who
This
was
is-
on the first diaper? I mean, you know.
this is true. The chairman had a great deal to do with it, despite the fact he always asked me, do you want clean diapers or dirty diapers? Who thinks like that?
Dirty diaper. Details.
Only the chairman. Well, this committee is amazing, and I'm sorry that everyone can't be here. And every year, it comes down to, if you want to have a successful event, ask the busiest people in the world to help you, and you'll get it done. And that's this group. They're the busiest people I know. So I just would like them to introduce themselves.
Nordon Cornelius with Cobb EMC.
Debbie Ponder, Executive Director for Reconnecting Families.
Jennifer Johnson Lynch, Community Volunteer.
Juanita Stedman, Cobb Juvenile Court.
Christy Story, the YWCA of Northwest Georgia.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this. It's a great project and very worthwhile. And we ask you and invite you all to participate and bring us some diapers on October 26th.
Clean ones.
Clean ones. Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you, Commissioner. That takes us to tab 2, Community Development. We have one item. It's to conduct a public hearing and approve a Chattahoochee Corridor Plan Certificate. Morning, Dana.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Dana Johnson, Cobb County Community Development. We are here to ask you to please open up a public hearing and then consider adoption of a Chattahoochee Corridor Plan Certificate for 3210 Laramie Drive. As a bit of information, in 1973, the Georgia General Assembly passed the Metropolitan Rivers Protection Act. That requires that certain properties within a certain number of feet from the Chattahoochee River receive certificates of compliance as it relates to land disturbing activities within that buffer of the Chattahoochee River. The Atlanta Regional Commission conducts these reviews, and in this case they have found this development to be consistent with the guidelines for the Chattahoochee Corridor Plan. So with that, sir, I would ask you to please open up the public hearing, and then afterwards if you would consider a motion for adoption.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open a public hearing. Those wishing to speak for or against this item and this item only, please come forward at this time. Seeing and hearing none, the public hearing is closed. Commissioner Ott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda item and grant the certificate.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Dana. Tab 3, public comment. No comment. There are no members of the public signed up for public comment. Tab 4, consent agenda. Commissioners, I'd like to bring forward a motion that we approve the consent agenda as revised and authorize execution of necessary documents by the appropriate county personnel.
Second.
There's a second. Any comments? Call the question. That motion carries 5-0. Takes us to tab 5, Transportation Agency.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. County Manager. Our first item is to authorize the creation of 2 full-time Engineer 2 positions to support increased project management, pre-construction, and construction activities, and authorize the procurement of the required support equipment and supplies. The department is currently managing the completion of the 2005 and 2011 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. To date, the department has completed 188 projects within the 2005 and 2011 SPLOST programs. An additional 59 projects are in the pre-construction phase and 38 projects are currently in construction. Management of the new 2016 SPLOST TIP has also begun with a minimum of 30 significant projects anticipated to begin early in 2016. Many of these projects involve or will include matching funds from our federal and/or state partners. The department will continue to rely on the SPLOST program management team and other professional service contracts for routine record keeping and project management on individual projects. However, department staff must oversee and monitor all major facets of project management to ensure compliance of the locally administered requirements. This requirement is also emphasized within the Georgia Department of Transportation's Local Administered Projects, or LAP program, as the department is a subrecipient of the federal funds. With the known increase in both project delivery requirements and workload, the department recommends the addition of 2 full-time Engineer 2 positions. We request the Board of Commissioners authorize the creation of 2 full-time Engineer 2 positions, grade 56, effective immediately, to support the increased project management, pre-construction, and construction activities. Authorize the procurement and the required support equipment and supplies for the 2 new positions in the amount not to exceed $4,727. Authorize the corresponding budget transaction, and further also authorize all expenditures associated with the 2 full-time Engineer 2 positions to be transferred to the appropriate SPLOST TIP fund at the end of each fiscal year.
Thank you, Jim. I'll bring this forward in the form of a motion. Is there a second? Any comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Next item, Jim.
This item is to approve a contract with D&H Construction Company, Inc. for drainage system repairs on Martin Court Drainage Project number E2580. Drainage system improvements is an approved component in the 2011 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. Martin Court is classified as a local road on the county's major thoroughfare plan. A 60-inch corrugated metal pipe in the vicinity of 4910 Martin Court has deteriorated, causing a sinkhole in the road. The low bid of $194,710 from D&H Construction Company was reviewed and found to be responsible and reasonable. The completion date for this project is 30 consecutive calendar days from issuance of notice to proceed. We request the Board of Commissioners approve a contract with D&H Construction Company, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $194,710 for drainage system repairs on Martin Court, project number E2580.
Commissioner Ott.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Deborah, the recommendation did not go through the entire text that's in the booklet. Should we go through that just to be clear?
I think that would be appropriate.
Thank you. So the recommendation, Jim, is that the Board of Commissioners approve a contract with D&H Construction Company in an amount not to exceed $194,710 for drainage system repairs on Martin Court, project number E2580, MIS contract number 000903. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents. Commissioner Ott, that's the recommendation.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Next item, please.
This item is to approve supplemental agreement number 1 and change order number 1 final to the contract with WE Contracting Company, Inc. for drainage system repairs on South Cobb Industrial Boulevard, project number E2590, MIS contract 000878. Drainage system improvements is an approved component in the 2011 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Programs. South Cobb Industrial Boulevard is classified as a local road on the county's major thoroughfare plan. 3 corrugated metal pipes in the vicinity of 1869 South Cobb Industrial Boulevard had deteriorated, which caused a sinkhole in the shoulder of the road. Supplemental agreement number 1 to the contract with WE Contracting Company, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $67,305 is requested for additional work associated with the design. Construction of the project is complete, and change order number 1 final to the contract with WE Contracting Company, Inc. and the deductive amount of $49,305 is requested due to a reduction in the original scope as a result of an alternative storm drain design. We request the Board of Commissioners approve supplemental agreement number 1 to the contract with WE Contracting, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $67,305 and approve change order number 1 final in the deductive amount of $49,305 for the drainage system repairs on South Cobb Industrial Boulevard, project number E2590, MIS contract number 000878, authorize the corresponding budget transaction and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Thank you, Commissioner Ott.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Item 4, please.
This item is to approve supplemental agreement number 1 to the project framework agreement with the Georgia Department of Transportation for Cobb Parkway US 41 State Route 3 at Windy Hill Road. State PI number 0011738, Cobb County project number E3030. Cobb Parkway US 41 State Route 3 at Windy Hill Road is an approved intersection safety and operational improvement project in the 2011 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. Project improvements include the addition, extension of turn and/or through lanes and a potential median along the western leg of the intersection. We request the Board of Commissioners approve supplemental agreement number 1 to the project framing agreement with the Georgia Department of Transportation in the amount not to exceed $16,400 for Cobb Parkway US 41 State Route 3 at Windy Hill Road, State PI number 0011738, Cobb County project number E3030, authorize the corresponding budget transaction and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Thank you, Commissioner Ott.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Next item, please.
This next item, sir, we have a revised map that goes with this item that should be passed out to all the commissioners, and this is incorporating changes to the area requested by Commissioner Ott.
Thank you.
This item is to approve project number E5050-TO number 1 to the 2014 Master Task Order contract with Gresham Smith and Partners for the Cumberland Area Pedestrian Study, MIS contract number 000801. The Cumberland area is a major employment, commercial, and residential activity center with significant growth potential. Mixed-use developments in the area cater to residents and patrons 365 days a year. The purpose of the Cumberland Area Pedestrian Study is to survey existing pedestrian facilities and current anticipated parking in the vicinity of SunTrust Park and the surrounding multi-use developments for pedestrian connectivity and mobility between commercial, residential, and entertainment options within the Cumberland area. Improvements will be identified to ensure future pedestrian activities accommodate pedestrian traffic within the Cumberland area while maintaining optimum vehicular traffic movements. We request the Board of Commissioners approve project number E5030-TO number 1 to the 2014 Master Task Order contract with Gresham Smith and Partners in an amount not to exceed $205,843 for the Cumberland Area Pedestrian Study MIS contract number 000801, authorize the corresponding budget transaction and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Thank you, Commissioner
Ott. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just as a kind of a word of explanation to anyone watching, since the map is not displayed, basically what was added was the large area of residential properties south of Cumberland Mall. And so basically, anyone familiar with the area, the Cumberland Core, which is basically surrounded by Windy Ridge Parkway all the way down to Cumberland Boulevard, is all now included. So a motion to approve.
Thank you. Any comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Next item, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The next 3 items all deal with inclement weather equipment, and although most people think of inclement weather as snow, we at the DOT use inclement weather as any storm cleanup, any debris cleanup after any major events. So there's a lot more that goes into it than just working during the wintertime. So with that, item number 6, to authorize the procurement of one Elgin Eagle Sweeper for inclement weather equipment and supply storage, project number X2605. On November 4th, 2014, the voters of Cobb County approved the Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, SPLOST, to fund capital improvements throughout the county and within each of the 6 cities. This included inclement weather equipment and supply storage as an approved project in the roadway improvements component of the 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. The department's road maintenance division is requesting the procurement of one Elgin Eagle sweeper to be utilized following inclement weather events. The addition of the sweeper will facilitate and enhance the countywide cleanup efforts when services are needed. The equipment will be procured utilizing the State of Georgia contract number 99999-SPD-0000102-0010000 with Environmental Products of Georgia for a cost not to exceed $273,755. Additional costs include $21 for tag and title and $100 highway impact fee. Due to the complexity of this specialized equipment, the department is requesting to include procurement of a turnkey maintenance agreement for a period of 5 years. The annual cost of this agreement is $13,200 for a total cost not to exceed $66,000 for the 5-year agreement period. We request the Board of Commissioners authorize the procurement of one Elgin Eagle sweeper utilizing State Georgia contract number 99999-SPD-0000102-0010000 with Environmental Products of Georgia in the amount not to exceed $339,876 to include a 5-year turnkey maintenance agreement for inclement weather equipment and supply storage, project number X2605, and further authorize the corresponding budget transaction.
So moved. Commissioners, is there a second?
Second.
Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Item 8, please.
Item 7 is to authorize procurement
Item 7, thank you.
Is authorize the procurement of 4 2016 Ford F-250 crew cab pickup trucks for inclement weather equipment and supply storage, project number X2605. The department's road maintenance division is requesting the procurement of 4 2016 Ford F-250 V8 crew cab 4x4 long bed pickup trucks to be utilized during and following inclement weather events. For example, during winter weather events, these pickup trucks will be used with attached spreaders and plows to maintain safe roadway conditions. These additional vehicles will allow in-house crews to respond more efficiently in providing countywide coverage when services are needed. Vehicles will be procured utilizing State of Georgia contract number 99999-SPD-ES40199373-002 at a cost of $36,358 each for a total cost not to exceed of $145,432. We request the Board of Commissioners authorize the procurement of 4 2016 Ford F-250 V8 crew cab 4x4 long bed pickup trucks utilizing State of Georgia contract number 99999-SPD-ES40199373-002 at a cost not to exceed $145,432 for inclement weather equipment and supply storage, project number X2605, and further authorize the corresponding budget transaction.
Thank you. Commissioners, bring forward this as a form of a motion. Is there a second? Any comments? Call the question. The motion carries 5-0. Item 8.
Our final item is to authorize procurement of 4 salt dog spreaders and 4 snow dog plows for inclement weather equipment and supply storage, project number X2605. The department's road maintenance division is requesting the procurement of 4 salt dog SHPE-2000 spreaders and 4 snow dog EX-75 plows to be utilized to maintain safe roadways during winter weather events. We request the Board of Commissioners authorize the procurement of 4 salt dog spreaders and 4 snow dog plows to include installation at a total cost not to exceed $34,200 for inclement weather equipment and supply storage, project number X2605, and further authorize the corresponding budget transaction.
Commissioners, bring forward in the form of a motion. Is there a second? Any questions? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Jim. Good job.
Thank you.
Tab 6, Public Services Agencies. Mr. Cannon.
Morning. Excuse me. Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, and County Manager. Today we have quite a few items. The first item is for the Board of Commissioners to approve the ranking of the top qualified firms to provide program management services, pre-construction services, and construction management for the Cobb County Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs 2016 SPLOST program, and to provide limited general engineering services for parks operations. and further authorize negotiations for final scopes and fee with top-ranked firm Moreland Altobelli Associates Incorporated, utilizing the selection process 1 competitive negotiations.
Thank you. Commissioners, I'll bring this forward in the form of a motion. Is there a second? Second. Any comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Eddie. Item 2, please.
The next item is for the Board of Commissioners to approve a final closeout supplement agreement and deductive change order number 1 to the contract with Archimetric Design and Construction Incorporated, reducing the contract by $520.94 for a revised total contract amount of $1,008,809.06 for construction services related to the improvements at Lions Park. This comes under the 2011 Park SPLOST program, and I ask that you authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Cupid.
So moved.
Second. Any comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Item 3.
The next item is for the Board of Commissioners to approve a final closeout supplemental agreement and deductive change order number 1 to the contract with Integrated Construction and Nobility Incorporated, reducing the contract amount by $15,638.16 for a revised total contract amount of $1,753,689 for construction services related to the redevelopment of Kenworth Park. This comes under the 2011 Park SPLOST program. Ask that you authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Thank you. Commissioner Weatherford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you haven't been by there, this is a great project. It's been going with the joint project with City of Ackworth. It really looks good and turned out great, so thanks for the great job.
Thank you.
So moved as presented.
Any comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Item 4, please.
The next item is for Board of Commissioners to approve a final closeout supplemental agreement and change order number 1 to the contract with Integrated Construction and Nobility Incorporated, increasing the contract amount by $39,575.96 for a revised total contract amount of $456,483.90. Approve an amendment to the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Ackworth. Acknowledge the increased contract amount and the payment of such amount equally by the city and the county for construction services related to the new parking lot at Kenworth Park. This comes under the 2011 Park SPLOST program, and authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Thank you. Commissioner Weatherford.
So moved as presented, sir.
Second.
Any comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Next item, please.
The next item is for Board of Commissioners to approve a final closeout supplement agreement and deductive change order number 1 final to the contract with Diversified Construction of Georgia Incorporated, reducing the contract by $15,826.24 for a revised total contract amount of $1,200,873.76 for the construction services related to the replacement of 3 concession restroom buildings located at Fuller's Park. This comes under the 2011 Park SPLOST program. I ask that you authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Thank you. Commissioner Hart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Commissioner Weatherford said on his part, this is, I want to commend Eddie, you and your staff on a tremendous job of rehabilitating Fuller's Park. It looks great. Motion to approve.
Second.
Any comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Item 6, please.
The next item is for the Board of Commissioners to approve a contract with Sports Turf Company Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $1,862,871 for the construction services related to the redevelopment of Wild Horse Creek Park. This comes under the 2011 Park SPLOST program, and authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents. If I could, let me explain this a little bit. This is for the rest of the park other than the water park. This will renovate athletic fields, this will renovate the BMX track, and also infrastructure throughout the park.
Thank you. Commissioner Cupid.
Yes, thank you, Eddie, and look forward to the improvements. So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Item 7, please.
The next item is for the Board of Commissioners to reject the bid by Archimetric Design and Construction Incorporated as being submitted by the non-responsible bidder and approve a contract with the next lowest responsible bidder, Integrated Construction and Nobility Incorporated, in the amount not to exceed $1,388,097.07 for construction services related to the redevelopment of Sweat Mountain Park under the 2011 Park SPLOST program, and authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Burrow.
Thank you. I too look forward to the improvements at Sweat Mountain Park, the ball fields and the dog park.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Any comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Item 8, please.
Final item is for the Board of Commissioners to authorize negotiations of scope and fees with Leatherwood Incorporated, the design and construction team determined to be the best pre-qualified to perform planning, permitting, and construction activities for the treatment of specific county-owned historic buildings. We're asking you to do this because there's a lot of historic buildings in the 2016 SPLOST that need some special attention. And we have dollars for. This is the same company that renovated the facilities out at Hyde Farm.
Thank you. Commissioners, I'll bring it forward in the form of a motion. Is there a second? Any comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Eddie. That takes us to tab 7. Commissioners, we have to take up an item I didn't think we need to do for several years. After the unfortunate untimely death of the county clerk, we're in a position to recommend an appointment of a new county clerk. As you know, upon the recommendation of the county clerk, or the county manager rather, I am pleased to recommend to the board the appointment of Pam Mabry for our county clerk. After discussion with the county manager, he has recommended and did recommend that we follow the standard hiring process for department heads and the same exact process that was utilized and put in place for the former county clerk as recommended for the appointment through Chairman Sam Owens. This involves posting the vacant position, receiving and screening applicants by Human Resources, the county manager appointing a selection committee to interview top candidates and recommending a final candidates for consideration, the county manager making a recommendation to the chairman after the interview process, and finally moving this forward to the board for a recommendation today. Mr. Hankerson followed the same process that has been proven to be successful in hiring county clerks in the past and has led to the quality managers we have on staff today. It is the job of the board to make sure that the county manager has put policies and practices in place that result in the county employing the best and most qualified professionals in the business. I believe the process Mr. Hankerson followed for the county clerk position was done just that. We had over almost 300 applicants for this position. 34 were referred to the selection committee, which was made up of 5 representatives, including representatives from a peer county clerk office. The selection committee interviewed 5 candidates, and the 3 candidates were then recommended for further consideration. Ms. Mabry came out on top on practically every single phase of this process. Cobb County Manager Mr. Hankerson ultimately recommended to me that Pam Mabry be appointed county clerk, and I am honored to present this recommendation to the board for approval today. Pam has been employed with the county for 16 years. She has distinguished herself as an exemplary employee and seized every opportunity that has been presented to her in the county. From her role as deputy chief in the state court clerk office to human resources specialist to assistant to Chairman Sam Owens, and most recently as administrative supervisor in the county attorney's office. Pam brings a wide range of experience, excellent administration and leadership skills, and expansive knowledge of Cobb County government to this role. Mr. Hankerson has recommended the best and most qualified person to carry on the work and serious responsibilities of the clerk's office, and I strongly support his recommendation. So, Commissioners, at this time, I recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the appointment of Pam Mabry as county clerk.
Second.
There's a second by Commissioner Weatherford. Any comments? Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My comments are not directed or meant to have any comments about the nominee. I have concerns once again with the process that the chairman has chose for the selection of the county clerk. For the county attorney and the communications director, the commissioners were notified early as to how the process would work and were included in the discussion. For this position, as the chairman stated, he chose a method not used since Chairman Owens was chairman. According to the county code, the clerk's office is not a department. Therefore, it does not fall under the jurisdiction of the county manager, as the chairman has claimed. Since the county clerk is a direct report to all the commissioners, the board should have been included in the discussion on how things would proceed. Most importantly, when is a direct report not interviewed and selected by those who they will be working for? In addition, it appears that certain staff members outside of the review committee knew before some of the commissioners. In fact, the chairman did not notify Commissioner Cupid or myself until he sent an email on October 6th, the day before filing the agenda item. Last year, the board was told the reason for hiring the chief deputy was so the chairman would have more time to exchange information with the commissioners. That is certainly not happening. Therefore, as a result of these concerns, I cannot support the recommendation.
Thank you. Just for the record, I didn't select the process. It was recommended to me by the county manager, and I concurred, and I followed his recommendation. Additionally, this process has been put in place and it's done extraordinarily well. There is no formal policy to address this protocol. In the past, the board involvement has been decided on a case-by-case basis. And then we will continue to, as I mentioned to you yesterday, in our meeting, which you did keep after canceling the prior 2 meetings in which you would have been notified of what was going on, we move forward with this particular process as, again, recommended by the county manager. Now, additionally, to that end, we have a process in place that's been used by this county manager for over 20 years to select an excellent crew of people. The only folks that were aware of this selection were the people that were in the selection committee who recommended the top 3. The county manager made a decision. He recommended to other than the candidates, and the county manager. No one else was aware until the commissioners were notified. Anybody else have a comment? Commissioner Cupid?
Prior to making comment, I'm curious to know if we can have a copy of the org chart of the county brought up, because I think that would be helpful in depicting to viewers.
On the website for anybody's review.
Is it possible to pull up the website for the org chart, please? Okay. Thank you. I'll first say that this process has no need to be an adversarial process. I think, however, the process for selecting a county clerk should comport with the organizational chart, which is here before you. If you look at the Board of Commissioners, you will see that there are 3 positions that the Cobb County Commissioners have responsible for assessing, reviewing, even managing. Those 3 positions include the county manager, the county attorney, and the county clerk. If you look at the line that comes from the Board of Commissioners, you will see that the county clerk and the county attorney's position actually goes above the county manager. And I'm not necessarily saying that those positions are hierarchical. I am saying that there's a clear line of delineation to show that those 2 positions do not fall underneath the county manager's purview. I will provide that it has been my observation in working with our prior county clerk, who I have a lot of respect for, that it was difficult for her to get issues resolved or for her to gain support without it being made clear to her who she was to report to. Where she should have been able to freely address all commissioners and get support or resolve of her matters, she was directly going to the county, I believe the county chairman and sometimes the county manager, per my discussion with her, to get resolved for some things of which it took some time to get resolved for. And I believe that those issues could have been circumvented were she to have comported with the reporting structure that she shares with the county attorney and the county manager. Since my onboard, we have hired a new county attorney. I am unaware, and perhaps it needs to be made clear to me today, if the county manager had responsibility for assessing the top candidates for that position and then providing a recommendation of 2 candidates to the Board of Commissioners. From my experience, that was not the case. And again, if you look, the county attorney and county clerk have very similar reporting structures. With the county attorney's role, all commissioners had opportunity to interview the 3 final candidates individually, and we came to, up with a recommendation. For other roles, as Commissioner Ott shared, there has been an unclear practice of whether or not those roles will be brought before the entire commissioners for us to review, or whether or not the county manager will make recommendations to us for us to select here in the commissioner forum. For this particular role, again, stressing the organizational chart, I do not believe that it was proper the way that this particular position was vetted or brought forward. At the very least, even utilizing the county manager's assistance, which has been brought to our attention to have been the prior practice used, I think that that could have still been done in addition to this candidate being brought before the entire Board of Commissioners, so that we would have better opportunity to vet the best candidate, particularly in light of the fact that we will be responsible, as just as we're responsible for the county attorney and also the county manager, we will be responsible for assessing this person's performance at the end of the year. And I only believe it's fair that if we're going to be assessing their performance at the end of the year, that we have some role in assessing whether or not they're the best person for the role beyond just receiving their application and their resume. I would further like to add that just recently the agenda book provided that there were 5 finalists, and we've only received information for 2 finalists via paper format. I've requested for our HR manager to please provide me information for the other 3 candidates, so at least so I would have opportunity to compare. Today I've only had opportunity to receive and review information for 1 additional candidate, which was an impressive candidate, just like the other 2 which were mentioned, or which were considered as the final 2. And to not have opportunity to vet that candidate and to see why they didn't make the cut is a little disconcerting. So with no judgment of who's been brought forward today as a clerk, I have no doubt with her experience with the county that she can do a great job in this position. But I want to share that the process which had been brought forth has been a little challenging with respect to our past history in vetting agency directors, and very disconcerting with respect to this organizational chart and what should be a proper form for that person to be assessed by the Board of Commissioners. So with that, I cannot support the recommendation made today.
Commissioner Weatherford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess having the benefit and sometimes the lack of benefit of being the newest one up here, I'm somewhat unfamiliar with the process followed here in the county, but I am familiar with how we did it in the municipal government. And in that particular instance, the city manager, i.e. the county manager, was responsible for all these various people, and not the board. And the county manager or the city manager was the one that reported directly to us. I tend to agree with Commissioner Cupid in some of her comments, and I think what really is required here is that we take a look at the process for all department heads as well as those that are directly reported, and see if these actual positions should be reporting to us or not. I think that's something we can do in the future, and take a look at how that process is followed and how it should be followed via best practices. I, for one, would certainly not want to look through 300 applications, and I would look to a committee which was utilized to pick the proper people. I was familiar with the final 3, and in fact one of them used to be my city clerk in Ackworth, so I was familiar with that person as well. So I fully support the recommendation and would request respectfully that we take a look at the process in the future.
Sure.
Thank you. And I agree too. My comments were going to be similar to Commissioner Weatherford. I do support the recommendation, but I also think we need some clarity moving forward on the process and actually, I guess, legal decision as well. So that would be my comments.
Thank you. Call the question. Motion carries 3-2. Commissioner Ott and Commissioner Cupid in opposition. Tab 8, we have two items. The first item, Counselor.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. County Manager, Madam County Attorney. For the benefit of the applicants, I am Sam Hensley Jr., the County Attorney for the Business License Division. And as you indicated, we do have two hearings today regarding appeals of denials of alcohol work permit applications. The first of those involves Mr. Daniel Klingler, who was denied due to a violation of our County Code Section 6-206, that is furnishing alcohol to a minor. Before I get into the details of that, Mr. Chairman, I don't believe that Mr. Klingler is currently present. However, he does have an attorney who is here, Mr. Larry Burke, representing him. So with your permission, I think I'll allow Mr. Burke to come forward and make whatever statement he would like to make in regard to Mr. Klingler.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've been asked to represent Mr. Klingler with regard to his appeal. I was in touch with him last evening and made arrangements to meet him here this morning. He has not appeared, and I have not been able to get in touch with him. I am respectfully requesting that the Commission allow this case to be continued over one time so that I can determine why he was unable to appear this morning and make sure that he is available at the next hearing.
Thank you. Commissioner Burrow? Seems like a reasonable request. Chief forgets to do that.
Since these meetings are at our 9 a.m. meeting, the second Tuesday of the month, this would carry over to the second Tuesday in November, if approved. So I will make a motion to approve the request to continue to the, and I don't have my calendar, the morning meeting, the second Tuesday of November.
Any other comments? Call the question. The motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Burke.
Thank you. Have a good
Takes us
day.
to item 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our second item involves Mr. Mohan Vista, who again was denied an application for an alcohol work permit while working at the Quick Thrift Mart. Mr. Vista was denied due to the conviction for a sale of alcohol to an underage buyer in Kennesaw on August 25th of 2014. This, of course, is a violation of our Cobb County Alcohol Code Section 6-206. In addition, Mr. Vista did not disclose that offense on his application. Therefore, he was not truthful in regard to the information he provided to Cobb County Police Department Regulatory Services and Permits Unit. This matter came before the License Review Board on August 20th of this year, and the License Review Board recommended denial at that time, and he has since appealed. Mr. Vista is represented by an attorney, so with your permission, Mr. Chairman, I would allow him to come forward and make a brief statement or comment, and then I will call my witness.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jerry Ware. I'm an attorney.
Excuse me, your last name?
Ware, W-A-R-E. First name is
Thank you.
Jerry. I practice law in Smyrna. I represent Mr. Vista, and we'll have to admit that at one point in July, I believe it was, that Mr. Vista was working at a convenience store in Kennesaw and did allow someone to purchase alcohol without checking. We're not denying that. That's the first time that, of course, has occurred. He's been working in this sort of business for probably 10 years, and that's his line of work, actually, is convenience store operations. We do also admit that when he did his application, when he filled his application out for a renewal, he was denied, and on that application, there was a question apparently that dealt with whether or not he'd been charged with any sort of offense, which he failed to complete. That wasn't intentional. He works 2 jobs. He did this application during the period between one job to the next. I think he just missed it. But it did happen, and we have to admit that it is on record. I would say that he is a person who has worked most of his life here. He's from actually Nepal, but he's a citizen. 2 jobs. He has a family he's supporting. He has 2 children in college, and this is his mainstay, and main way to earn a living, which he's having difficulty at this point in time. We are asking, of course, the commission to consider his condition as far as his employment is concerned, and at least consider doing a probationary permit during the period of time which he can prove to you, to the state, to the county, that he is responsible. And that is our actually only reason to be here. We're not denying these things happened. They are clear, but it was not intentional on his part on failing to complete the application. And that's our request.
Thank you, Mr. Ware.
With your permission, Mr. Chairman, I'll now swear in the witnesses.
Thank you.
If you'll be testifying in this hearing or believe you may be testifying, would you please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this proceeding shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say, I do. Thank you. You may be seated. I'd like to call Detective Anthony Argano, Mr. Chairman.
I'm just about ready to get to that. Counselor,
Yes,
do we
sir.
need to waive reading of charges?
Well, this is a denial of an application,
So there's no, okay.
it's not a
That's
show
fine.
cause hearing.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Could you state your full name for the record, please?
Anthony Argano,
And where are you employed, Mr. Argano?
the Cobb County Police Permits Office.
And what is your position in that office?
We regulate businesses that have an alcohol license. We perform permit inspections and underage compliance checks.
Okay, and how long have you worked in that division?
A little over a year.
Okay. And are you familiar with Mr. Mohan Bista, who is the applicant who has appealed to this hearing today?
I am.
And did Mr. Bista present an application of some sort to your office?
He did.
Can you tell us what you found when you reviewed that application, please, sir?
After doing the background check, we discovered that on August 25th of 2014, Mr. Bista was arrested in Kennesaw by the Kennesaw Police Department for furnishing alcohol to a minor.
Now, when you say you did the background check, does that mean that this information was not disclosed on the application itself?
That's correct.
Do you have a copy of the application or the original application?
I do.
Could we project the back page of that has the section where they are asked to disclose offenses, please? And as soon as we get this centered here on the screen.
Mr. Hensley, could I
Yes.
could I ask you a sidebar here
Absolutely.
with other counsel, please?
Mr. Ware, the county attorney would like to speak with you. Did I not talk to you about the process when we talked about it beforehand? What we were going to use and why?
I don't think I understood you.
He made the recommendation. We approved it. I told you guys what we were doing. And before you get up here and say it's just the process is fucked up.
Detective Argano, can you please review what this says at the top of this application page, please?
Okay, in bold black letter, and it says list anytime you have ever been arrested. And underneath that section, that's where you're supposed to put the date of the offense, where it occurred at, and what the disposition, which means the final outcome of the case. And then underneath that, it says please list any citations involving drugs or alcohol, and write none if applicable.
And this doesn't say convictions, does it? It says arrested or citations, correct?
That's correct.
And there are actually two places where one would be expected to place information about an alcohol offense. Is that correct, sir?
That's correct.
Okay. Based on your review of this application, what action did your office take, sir?
He was denied at that time.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Ware, do you have any questions to this gentleman?
I have no questions, but also.
Thank you, sir.
I have no further witnesses, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Ware, do you have anyone you'd like to present?
I would like to Mr. Bista. Mr. Bista, would you raise your right hand, please? Were you sworn earlier?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Bista, you heard the officer testify that you, upon making application for renewal of your license, failed to, as you saw on the board, failed to fill out the provision on that particular document that you had the offense in Kennesaw, correct? Would you explain to the Board of Commissioners when you took that application and when you filled that application out, why it is you did not complete that part of the application, sir?
Actually, I work two jobs, to survive, and I get off at night, from the other job, 2 o'clock, come to the home, 2:30, and open other store right by the Barrett Parkway at 7:30. I woke up 6 o'clock, and I was so tired. I went to get, fill up my crypto application, alcohol server was expired, and I went there to get, I read, all the through, and first it was, I wasn't arrested that time, which event, even to the Kennesaw. I wasn't arrested, and I didn't, I was so tired, I didn't thoroughly read, all top to bottom. I read in the top one, so I wasn't arrested. I just got citation, That's the reason.
Mr. Speaker, how long have you been in the convenience store business or worked in convenience stores?
Yeah, I worked since 2008, all different convenience store, Cobb County, Smyrna County, Cherokee County, all this.
And does it require when you work in a convenience store that sells beer or alcohol that you have a permit to work in those stores?
Yes, sir. When I was working in Kennesaw Green, I had to, two time I renewed there. I worked there like 2 years, and the last I was, going to renew that is going to be 2 years too there. If I get, first time I renewed there, I worked 1 year, and then second time I was to get renewed, that's denied.
All right, have you found it difficult since you have been denied the application to earn a living for your family?
Yes, sir, because, I know in my entire experience in the convenience store, I try to get close to my house, I don't get job, because, due to this reason. So it's difficult to me, you know. I'm raising, I have two students, you know, they are in college, you know. So I'm supporting fully them, you know.
All right, you have 2 children in college, and where are they in college, sir?
One is in North Dakota, you know, North Dakota University.
North Dakota?
Yeah, North Dakota. And one is, he's just graduated from UGA and UGA University, and he went to the Ross University, you know, to medical college, you know.
During your course of working in convenience stores or during your course of working with, it requires alcohol license. Is this your only, have you had any offenses other than this offense?
No, sir. No, sir. Entire my, you know, on 10 years, you know, this is first, you know.
And what are you asking the board to do for you today? Are you asking the board to give you another chance? Ask the board to give you a opportunity to operate on a probationary license or something until you can prove yourself, sir?
Yes, and if I get in condition, I can, you know, work with responsible for this county. You know.
That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Hensley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Vista, where were you working in Kennesaw when you got the ticket for selling to an underage?
And Kennesaw, Chevron, Baker Road.
Chevron on Baker Road?
Yes, sir.
And what happened that day when you were cited for selling to an underage?
Yes, sir. You know, what happened, sir, I had circumstances, you know, in my home. My wife, she was cooking, you know, that day with a pressure cooker. Pressure cooker was exploded. I got call from wife, you know, and then I get distracted. Otherwise, I always ask, you know, the customer ID, you know. But I had a situation, I have a picture here, I can show you, you know.
That's okay. I'll take your word for it. So there was an incident at home.
Yes, sir.
You received a call from your wife.
Yes, sir.
What did you do at that moment? Did you go home or did you continue working?
Yeah, then I call and she called me, and then I get a little bit, you know, disturbed, you know.
So you did not even check the ID of the person that was purchasing the alcohol. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You got distracted and didn't.
Yes, I know. I distracted him.
Was this part of a compliance check by the police? Had they come in to check whether you sell alcohol under the proper rules or not?
Yeah, so I have to check, you know, when I sell the tobacco and the alcohol, I have to check. But
well, my question is, once you sold the alcohol, did a police officer then come in and give you a citation?
Yeah, he just gave me a citation. He said me to use sold, you know, underage, you know, alcohol. I say I didn't.
So, and now your explanation, as I understand it, for not filling out your application truthfully and properly is that you were tired. Is that correct?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Tired. And also there was no arrested, you know, so I wasn't arrested too, you know. I just really, you know, I was so tired too. You know. Yes.
But as you saw on that sheet that was up earlier, it said list any citation, correct?
Yeah. I just read, you know, top, you know, and I wasn't arrested, so, you know, arrested, yeah.
I just have one final question for you, Mr. Vista. Can you understand why this board would be concerned about granting you the privilege of selling alcohol if you tend to get distracted or tired and don't do your job properly and wind up selling alcohol to people that shouldn't get it? Can you understand that, why they would be concerned?
Okay, I mean, you know, once I get, you know, so I, you know, work very focusfully, you know, responsibly, because this is my, you know, only, you know, income.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but do you understand that you are the last line of defense? Do you understand what that means? If you don't stop young people from getting alcohol, underage people, then something terrible could happen as a result. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
No further questions, Mr. Bishop.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, and I will
Okay,
reserve.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Burrow has a question. Who do you have a question of?
Oh, Mr. Hensley.
Mr. Hensley?
Mr. Vista is asking for a permit
Let me turn your mic on.
is asking for a permit at the Quick Thrift at Barrett Parkway and Bell's Ferry. Is that correct?
I believe that's the location. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And for that store only, but the citation happened in the city limits of Kennesaw?
That is correct.
At
yes.
at a Chevron or another store?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So those were the two jobs he was working in, okay. Because that was unclear on the application.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I had. I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to clarify that.
I'll allow Mr. Ware to make any closing he has, and then I'll make a brief statement.
Thank you,
after
Mr. Ware.
Thank you. Briefly, we're here to ask the board to exercise its discretion in giving some leniency to Mr. Bista in his situation. He's been a good employee all this time for several years. This was an incident that occurred. The first incident, of course, was a situation where, as it says, he got a call from his wife, a pressure cooker had exploded and she was burned or something, so he had to, he just didn't check. And we don't deny that, but there are reasons sometimes for people to conduct themselves as they do, and sometimes there are reasons for people to break a law that they don't intend to break. He needs desperately for the board to consider allowing him to operate on some sort of a probationary permit so he can get back into his lifestyle and to support his family. And also time for him to prove to the county that he is a good person and he's not one that's out there attempting to give alcohol to minors. There's no intention there. He's had a good record, and we just ask the board, of course, to consider that and to allow him a temporary license at that location.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I certainly do understand the need for people to be gainfully employed, who work hard, who are productive members of our community. However, as we've seen in the past, there is a pattern here. It's not simply that one incident took place, that he was distracted, that he didn't check the ID, but then it happened again in regard to something that should have been very, very important, and that's the correct filling out of an application and disclosing this information. So I think we have a disturbing pattern of not paying attention to detail. And that is when tragedy happens. That one slip, when you don't check an ID or you read it improperly, and a young person gets alcohol and something terrible happens as a result. And this was the result of a compliance check. So how many times has this happened when there were not police there checking to see that the rules were being followed? So I would have to recommend, Mr. Chairman, that you uphold the License Review Board denial of this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Burrow?
Thank you. Well, it has been said many times before, an alcohol permit or license is a privilege. And it's something that we don't take lightly, serving to minors or any other violations. The fact that, I mean, I understand how you can sometimes be distracted with an emergency or a family incident, but that still doesn't, it isn't an excuse to not check IDs and prevent the sale to underage or minors. So, and also not being truthful on your application is very concerning. So I would make a motion to uphold the License Review Board's decision to deny 4-0.
There's a motion and a second. Any comments?
Yes,
Commissioner Ott.
I just want to echo Commissioner Burrell's comments, and as a father of two teenagers who I trust, I always listen very intently on issues when we have like this where someone sold alcohol to a minor, because I hope that all parents out there, I know that they are concerned for their children's safety, And working in the environment I do, where attention to detail is so very important, you have to know when you are outside of your game, whether it be personal things going on at home or things like that, and you have to step away. But to just say that, because of the incidents at home, I made a mistake, this could be a tragic mistake, and so I have to agree with Commissioner Burrow.
Thank you. Any other comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. Takes us to tab 9, our second public comment. There are no speakers. Takes us to tab 10. There's 2 items. The first is to appoint Mr. Johnson to the Hospital Authority of Cobb County to fill the term balance of James Coxwell. The term balance expires August 30th, 2018. Is there a second? Any comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. The second item is to approve the appointment. The Board of Commissioners approved the appointments of Elizabeth Scott to replace Ada Jones, who resigned, and Rob Garcia III to fill a vacant post for the term to expire on June 30th, 2018. Is there a second? Any comments? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0. This takes us to tab 11. I'd like to Commissioners' public address. I'd like to remind the Commissioners we're limited to 5 minutes in our comments. Commissioner Cupid. Pardon me? No. Commissioner Ott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple announcements. First one is I will be having a town hall meeting tonight at 7 p.m. at the Cochise Club in Vinings. All are welcome to attend. The Cochise Club is located on Cochise Drive at the corner of Cochise and Paces Ferry. Also, on October 24th, during the North Georgia Metro Atlanta Heart Walk, Otters Trotters will be beating out Weatherford's Walkers. So if you want to be a member of the winning team, join the team. On a different note, a team that Commissioner Weatherford and I are going to be on the same team.
Oh, good.
Yes. I can't believe you already shaved it off. But in November, which some people know is No Shave November or Movember, Commissioner Weatherford and I will be growing mustaches along with Cobb Fire. But in addition, Cobb Fire on an annual basis raises money through the sale of t-shirts. And up on the screen is this year's t-shirt, which for $20 you can buy a long sleeve t-shirt and $15 you can buy a short sleeve t-shirt. And Chief Kreider has authorized all field personnel to wear the navy blue version, which is up here on the screen, while on duty during November. If you place your order by October 21st, you should receive the shirt by November, and we'll have the link on my webpage, and I'm assuming Commissioner Weatherford's, where you can order your shirt. And finally, actually I got 2 more. Each year, the Green Fleet Award is awarded to 50 local government fleets in North America for their efforts to reduce greenhouse emissions through the use of alternative fuels and vehicles. Cobb County's fleet was named the 27th best in North America for 2015, so congratulations to all the fleet management department folks. And finally, as just an update, because this is fairly recent, for those in East Cobb going through the water pipeline replacement, we were informed this morning that the Cobb County Marietta Water Authority will begin digging the trench and putting in the 54-inch pipeline between Haverford Lane and Greenwood Trail. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Weatherford.
Thank you. Weatherford's walkers are actually going to walk. I don't believe Ott's Trotters are going to trot, but we'll see when we get up there. But just find that out. Tonight, there's a joint town hall meeting that I'm hosting or participating in at Ackworth City Hall, and that begins at 6:30 tonight. Anybody in that north area would like to come by there. And on Thursday night, we have the Cobb 2014 listening session at the West Cobb Senior Center, Thursday at 6 o'clock, and that's available. This weekend, Taste of Ackworth in downtown Ackworth, of course. Saturday from 10 to 6 is a great event. There'll be 20,000 to 30,000 people that actually show up there, and it's a great event and beautiful weather. So if you haven't been before, it'd be a great event. And then finally, the American Legion Post 304 in North Cobb did their grand opening last week, and it's been a long time coming. That happens to be the post that I'm a member of. If you get a chance, stop by and take a look at what we've done to the old Charlie's Oyster Bar, which Took a while to get all the grease out of there, but it's a good spot. So those are the comments I have, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrow.
Thank you. I would like to thank the community for all their support last week honoring our public safety personnel. We had events through the Cobb Chamber, the East Cobb Business Association, and many others, and we thank you for your support. Yesterday was Columbus Day, but a new day for Positive American Day that we will celebrate going forward every year on October 12th. And we celebrated by wearing patriotic colors, vowing to thank our military and public safety personnel, exercising our right to vote, and performing a selfless act for others and inspiring a new generation of positive Americans. So thank you to the coordinators of Positive American Day. There were 2 events, one in Powder Springs and one in Kennesaw last night. And I'd like to just give a shout out to Scott Peterson, who coordinated this event, and it will be an annual event moving forward. Some announcements. On Thursday, October 22nd, is our final How to Do Business with Cobb seminar for 2015. It will be at 5:30 at the Senior Wellness Center, 1150 Powder Springs Street. There is still availability. It is free, but you do need to register. There's some flyers on the back table for more information. And of course, you heard this morning the proclamation for the annual Diaper Day for low-income families. You can bring diapers to the square on Monday, October 26th at 5 p.m. in Glover Park. And for county employees, we have a bin downstairs on the first floor if you'd like to bring some in there. And we'll take them over on Monday, the 26th. We also, on November 7th, is our next Forever Fest at the Cobb County Animal Shelter. And we ask you to join us from 10 to 4, 1060 Al Bishop Drive. We'll have vendors, police canine demonstration, raffles, and special adoption rates to take home your new best friend. And as we approach Veterans Day, I think most of you have probably heard by now, the U.S. Army Field Band and Soldiers Chorus is coming to the Lassiter Concert Hall on Veterans Day, which is a Wednesday this year, November 11th at 7:30 p.m. We are sold out. We've gotten an overwhelming response just by folks mailing in a registration form to attend. The concert is free, but it is sold out. However, the Cobb Wind Symphony is having their Veterans Day concert on Sunday, November 8th at 3 p.m. at Lassiter Concert Hall. And that admission is free, and so if you didn't get your tickets for the U.S. Army Field Band, please try to attend the Cobb Wind Symphony on Sunday, November 8th. And that's all I have.
Thank you. I'd also like to thank the Cobb Chamber of Commerce for hosting their first Monday breakfast, where they honored public safety heroes across the county from all the cities and the specialized units. It was a great event, well attended, and this week has been pretty phenomenal in recognizing our public safety heroes. I want to encourage everyone not to stop recognizing our public safety heroes. Every time there's an opportunity to give thanks to one of these individuals, we ought to do that. And we need to remember, I believe, that it's more than clearly the public safety folks, public as it relates to police, fire, 911, EMS, or folks that we think about right up front. There's a whole group of folks across the street, the courthouse, between judges and special victim witness folks and folks associated with witness protection and investigators and DAs and solicitors and the sheriff's office and everything that's done there. Once an arrest is made, there's a judge involved with swearing a warrant, and then there's folks involved with the jail if necessary, or in some cases our mental health facilities, or God forbid it's a crime against a child or a victim. Less fortunate than others. There's a whole army of folks that work in Cobb County to ensure that we are one of the safest communities in the region, and I applaud everyone that works in that field. It's an incredible field and an honor to be a part of that group, and I encourage us all to continue to say thank you 365, 24/7. October 22nd, between 6:30 and 8, if you're not at the How to Do Business with Cobb, there is a town hall for the chairman's office on Windy Hill Community Center, Legacy Hall in Smyrna. I encourage you to be there if you can. Halloween is coming up on the 31st. There's a lot of events going on between Six Flags over Georgia and up at Kennesaw State University, the still undefeated home football team. Check out those websites and learn more about it. There's a lot of fun for families across this county where we could all be safe and enjoy this festivities of Halloween. The Art Fest, or the Chalk Fest rather, over the last weekend in City Marietta was just phenomenal. The art that was created by folks using chalk in the middle of the street was just beyond what I think anybody would expect, and those that saw that understand that. One other shameless plug, Cobb County has got a young man who has chosen to pursue his career in singing and in voice, and he's utilizing a well-known television show called The Voice to pursue his career, and he's been quite successful. First to be chosen in the first round, and then last night made it through the first round and moving on to the third round. That's Zach Seaball. Zach is a 16-year, now 17, part I believe Kennesaw Mountain, and he continues to do well. For those that are interested in watching a young man just explode with national recognition and talent, follow The Voice. Zach Seaball is the guy, and eventually when he gets to the live, hopefully he gets to live, he's going to need our help through Twitter and Facebook and other mechanisms. So we congratulate Zach on his journey and wish him well in that pursuit. Anything else, Mr. County Manager? We are adjourned.